It looks like Michael Scott has added another item to his to-do list. Now we have to create a lookup sheet based on customer's first name. So to do this, we're going to be using a few features. One is a formula called HLOOKUP. Another one is PaySpecial. And thirdly, we're going to be using a method called Transpose. It's a feature in PaySpecial, and it's also a formula. Let's press Control Home. Let's go ahead and make a new window. It's up here, where you can press Alt and W to go to View, and then N for New Window. I'm going to press the Window button, right arrow key. Let's go ahead and make a new worksheet. Let's call it Lookup Sheet. There we go. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to have this row, up here, all these headers, to be in a column so I can look up the data based on customer's name. And how he wants to do it, he wants to see the data for the customer's last order. So for order date, we're going to arrange this from newest to oldest. Now we have all the new ones up here. So now it's going to look up the customer's name, and it's going to bring us their information of their last order. Here's how we're going to do it. The first method we're going to try is the PaySpecial. So let's go ahead and select this row, press Control C, come over here, I'm going to right click. We could just go straight to Transpose, but I'm going to show you something first. Let's go to PaySpecial. We're going to press Values, so it just pastes the value. And then over here, we're going to press Transpose. We'll press OK. And look at that. So you might say, now what is Transpose? What does that mean? I like to think of it like a swing set. You have the rope at the top, they're at the bottom, so they're dangling down. When they swing up this way. So they're not swinging straight up. No, they're swinging out and then up. So the last row becomes the last column. The second to the last row becomes the second to the last column. So just like that. So that's what happens in PaySpecial. So if it's a column, these are going to become rows. And if it's a row, it's going to swing it down. So the last column becomes the last row. The first column becomes the first row. So that's how you transpose. We can even do it the other way. Just Control C. Over here, this time we will use the transpose method. So as you can see, the first row has become the first column. Second row has become the second column, and so on. Let's go ahead and delete this. Let's go back. Let's expand that, double-clicking it. Now another method of doing this is using the transpose formula. So here's how this works. You actually have to pre-select your cells. Now if you're using Office 365, you can actually skip this first step. You can actually just, in here, type transpose and then select your data. But if you're using Office 2016 like me, or if you're using an older version, you're going to have to pre-select these cells. Then you press equals transpose over here. Select that row, close it, and then you're going to press Control-Shift-Enter. Just like that, it transposes it. You might think, now why would you want to do that? Well, one advantage of using this method is that if I come over here, and I just change this one to last, it also changes this one. Cool, huh? So now these are dynamic. These are linked to this first row, and it's transposing them. So if I come over here, let's name, it's going to change it back. Now if you want to add more columns, you can actually change this formula to, instead of A1 to O1, you can actually change the column further. You can actually pre-select more cells downward. Like I said, if you're in Office 365, you can just type the formula here, press Control-Shift-Enter, and it'll spill over into the other cells. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of this. So here's how we're going to look up our data. First, we're going to have customer name. Let's go ahead and highlight this yellow. Make this Control B for bold. Let's double click. There we go. Let's look up Emma. All right. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to use the HLOOKUP. So it's going to be similar to VLOOKUP. You don't typically use HLOOKUP too often. If you've taken any basic course in Excel, they may or may not have covered HLOOKUP. But here's how HLOOKUP works. It works just like VLOOKUP. So it needs a value. We're going to be looking at the cell to the left. Table array is going to be our order table, which we already named. And we're going to be looking up, actually we're going to be looking up all the data. Close that. The row index is going to be based on this cell down here at D3, which is going to be the customer name. But for right now, let's just use row 5, because that's what Emma is in. It's row 5. 5. And false, we're going to use an exact match. Press enter. Well, you know we have Emma. Now if we copy this downward, we get all of our information. But we don't want this to be 5. We want it to be dependent on this cell right here. So how do we do that? Well, again, think about Excel and how it works and other formulas you know. Now, what formula gives us a number based on a name? I'll give you a few seconds to figure it out. Have you got it? It's match. That's right. We're going to be using a match formula. Remember, match gives us a number based on a name, and it looks it up in a table or some kind of range like this. So match this right here. Now remember to fix the reference. Press F4. Otherwise, it's not going to reference properly. Lookup array. It's going to be this entire column right here. Column A. Because it's going to be looking up that first name. It's going to be an exact match, so 0. Complete that. Let's press enter. It looks like it's working. Let's double click. Sure enough, it looks like it's working. Let's try Mila. And what do you know? Let's actually make these dates just so I can test it. Press Control 1. Let's go date. There we go. Yep, 3/11, 3/7. So the order date, 3/7, that's Mila. So it's looking downward. Yep, delivery date, that's 3/11. It looks like it's working just fine. Even though Mila is actually listed later on down here as well, it's trying to find the first one. So it's going down. That's why we filtered based on the order date. So it's newest to oldest. So it shows their last order. So now we have a lookup table that shows us the customer's last order. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you again in the next lesson.